The following program contains strong language and sexual situations intended for a mature audience. Viewer discretion advised.
Food, it keeps us alive. It makes us happy, it makes Americans big, fat, greedy, smelly slobs. Welcome to Stock Footage Syndrome. We've been expecting you. You know, it seems like every day we go out to get something to eat, whether it's at a restaurant or a store, run by a big corporation who dominates the industry and leaves small businesses in the dirt. I mean, food. Yum. Take this person, he's obviously your average white American who is obviously on his way towards diabetes. He's making cookies. Doesn't grab some cereal, or warm up some oatmeal. No, cookies. Now that's some typical 21st century. You know, something simple such as a piece of bread is a better alternative, just the bread, none of that Indian dipping sauce bullshit. Another idea, coffee. Did you know you can make some at home? Yeah, you don't need to one of those coffee shops that has seasonal beverages, a million locations, and still doesn't give their employees a good wage to live on. The coffee is now done. Now you can scroll through your Instagram, Twitter and Snapchat, while you have Good Morning America playing on your TV in the background. Let's do lunch. I know I'm just supposed to be the narrator guy, but can someone explain to me what the actual is that shit on the plate? No, not the vegetables that stuff on the meat. And by the way, those vegetables are floating in meat juice and they practically don't mean anything at this point. Yeah, you eat that steak, or chicken, or fish, or whatever. Not even gonna eat the veggies, they set the silverware down, they're done. You know, sometimes you just have to sit down, and say, "F it, let's go out somewhere to eat." And then you go to same restaurant that you always go to and look at the menu like you're going to get something different. You damn well know you're going to get the same shit that you always get. You're gonna get a pizza and you're probably one of those sick who puts pineapple on it. Putting fruit on a pizza is like giving birth control to your grandmother, absolutely useless. And no, down to the good stuff, alcohol. Alcohol, without it we wouldn't have children. We wouldn't have insanity left in us, and we'd actually have to tolerate people. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? It's such a wonderful beverage, it comes in many forms, shapes, and sizes, and ends with a good, old-fashioned hangover. Some fun facts: alcohol is the #1 cause of erectile dysfunction. It was created by a guy who hated his wife. I'm gonna drink some after I finish this episode. It's best to drink alcohol when in a bar. You can be far away from your coworkers and family and just have time to think without having to think about committing a murder. Just a little tip: when drinking, stay the hell away from women. I mean, just look at videos posted, they act like crazy psychopaths. I bumped into one last night, and I couldn't tell if she wanted to fight me or have sex with me. I don't understand stuff anymore. Drinking with guys is the opposite. You either want to receive sex or avoid a fight. In fact, let's take a look at this couple. They had so much to drink last night. She had a margarita and ended up sleeping with the neighbors, the husband, and the wife. Then the husband went to accidentally send pictures of his doodle to his boss. He just got fired, but I'm pretty sure McDonald's will hire anybody. I hear they're hiring people who just got out of rehab. Well, anyway, I'm gonna head out. The studio can't hire me to work for any longer than an hour. Off to my night job, as a stripper. Just kidding, I don't do that anymore, not since I paid off my student loans. See you next episode if I haven't been replaced.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind. 'Cause your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, they're no friends of mine. Welcome to stock footage syndrome. The fine art of dancing. It's elegant, extravagant, and gives gay men the free ability to express themselves. No one really knows how long it has been since it was invented. But I have a theory that it involved a caveman trying to sexually arouse his wife, but that theory got me put in a mental institution. There are many dancers, ballerinas, break dancers, strippers. And then you have your Davids. This is David, he's a dancer. Well, regardless of what kind of dance that you choose to do, you are free to do any one you want. Did you see that girl's ass on the thumbnail? Well, you're gonna have to wait. Impatient boys don't get treats. Okay, let's move on from ballet. I mean, this show isn't targeted to the French. Okay, I didn't mean to cut back to David. Hurry up and change the scene. Okay, I don't see what the a girl and a horse have to do with dancing. Can we just please move on? I mean, now would be a good time to tune into the dancing strippers, the nightclub scene. This is where guys buy girls cheap alcohol in hope that she'll come back to his crappy apartment in exchange for some pity sex. Also known as My Life 3 years ago. Look at the many cultures that put their own twist on dances. Like the Asians. Alexa, play that one song from that rapper who's been in prison for 4 years and has over 2 years left in before he's assassinated 3 years after. That was a guess. Don't come at us if that actually happens, you sensitive sons of bitches. I'm sorry, are you seeing what I'm seeing? I think I'm tripping. Before I came in here, some Boy Scouts offered me a free sample of their brownies. But now that I think about it, I think it was a pot brownies from some teenagers who wanted to have their way with me. I'm so scared. Can we move on? I can't focus, we're barely halfway through the episode. These damn colors, these damn visions. Now in the 21st century, America has changed for the worse. I mean, dancing, the country itself is doing okay. Now it just seems like in order to have an extreme party, you got to have loud and bright lights, and then you got to have this half-naked chick get on the floor so the guys get interested and the women get angry. Try waking up gracefully and do a nice majestic dance with the sunrise. It cleanses your aura and charges up your sexual energy for the day. So sexy. Check out this classic, Some Dancing from the 80s. Was it invented by Michael Jackson? Was it done by someone who experimented with drugs? No one really knows. But it's still better than what I see today. See, you can be a good dancer without having a big ass. Go girls and gay guys. Have you ever seen a guy dancing as a silhouette figure? Well, check this out. Hey, no, no, no. Hey, no, no, hey, no, no, hey, no. Now the moment you've all been waiting for, a representation of modern-day America, nothing but ass, ass, and ass. It's gotten so bad that 50% of teenage girls will either have their whole body exposed on the internet or end up on Pornhub. I was one of the girls, but you have to get yourself out there sometime. See you.
Relationships. They're complicated, confusing, and annoying, but somehow it's vital in our lives. Welcome to Stock Footage Syndrome, made by the lonely, for the lonely. Does anybody else ever get that feeling? When you really want to be with someone, even though you know that it will probably never work out. And sometimes you end up just doing stupid just so that you can seem cool to that person. Marriage is the biggest relationship commitment that can be made. There comes that one person in life that you see and you want to spend your life with them, because they're beautiful, because they understand you, because you're the only one who wants access to those big, luscious, sexy, pendulous breasts, or penis, whatever you're interested in. Take it slow and enjoy a place where all relationships begin, the amusement park. It's best you go at night because if it's dark, your ugly features will be hidden and you get broken up with immediately. When going to the amusement park, make sure you feed your girl to keep her satisfied. Nobody likes a messy bitch. I took this one girl on a date back when I was in high school. She wouldn't lighten up until I got her some garlic fries to swallow, and after that she was too full and ended wanting to leave, so I spent $180 on tickets and food, all just for nothing in the end. I still remember you, Jenna Johnson. I'm narrating a show on the internet, and you had their miscarriages. Girls are lucky, they can just hang out together and it's practically nothing. If I hang out with my guy friends, people assume that I'm as gay as musical theater production. Here's a secret about guys, we don't even give a about all the rides and games that happen at the fair. All we care about is if we can score in the end. I mean, do you really think that guys enjoy riding the teacups, spinning around in an egg, or trying to pop an industrial balloon with a cheap plastic dart? But the older you get, the more attached you become, and you'll practically do anything she says just to not die alone. Roller coasters, you always talk them up and make them seem like they're no big deal, then when you get there you have to come up with tons of excuses why you can't ride them. This goes especially for girls. I've never once seen a girl with regular look on her face while riding a coaster. I mean, even the dark and goth chicks get overwhelmed by the experience, like my sister. She died when riding one when she was 27, she was a tester. The ride didn't malfunction, the seat belts were so tough and sharp, when she made a turn on the ride, her neck was cut by the seat belt, her head landed on a target in a dunk tank, and her headless body rode that coaster for the next 2 minutes. There was blood everywhere. The park had to cover it up and pay our family $3 million. I was traumatized for the next 7 months. I still don't wear seat belts to this day. Sometimes it's not just about trying to score, sometimes you just want to spend time with someone that you actually really care about. Bonds that you make with people make an impact on your life, and you're just happy to have their company. Whether they're your friends, your partner, your husband, your wife, even just the little time you spend or speak to each other makes that person's day, and you feel good about it. The day at the amusement park is over. Now you just sit and enjoy the world, well, part of the world that isn't a complete nightmare. Looking over the city, looking at all the smog in the air, looking at the dried up grass, looking at people who are starving. Humans, we really are people. We care more about ourselves than we do for the world who provides us with life. Every country is guilty for this. Except Canada. Those Canadians are the most pure people on this planet. Well, like all people, I've got the feeling of lust and need to lash it out on my wife, like all these people entering this weird sex dungeon or brothel. Either way, I'm about to get what I desperately crave and deserve. See you guys later if I make it out here alive.
Still waiting on those rats to cook?
Yep.
Still waiting on opportunity to come to us?
Yep.
Still waiting on season 2 of LJ's World?
Yep.
Everybody get up, if you wanna get down. When they ask, say up. We gon' run this town. We gon' run this town. Run this town. We gon' run this town.
The following program contains strong language and sexual situations intended for a mature audience. Viewer discretion advised. Welcome to Stock Footage Syndrome. Have you ever heard the story of the Screamer? You can only hear his screams, no one has ever seen him face to face. Legend has it, he's so insanely powerful and crazy, that he even scares death itself. This is Death's former residence. The Screamer has expanded his territory, people don't even confront him, they just move along, no questions asked. We asked Death for an interview but he declined. He insists that we shouldn't get involved with the Screamer. He's not someone you want to get in contact with. But he did tell us that he does have plans to make his way into the city and, quote-unquote, pay a long time overdue visit. 150 years ago, the Screamer entered the home of an innocent woman, while she was bathing. She claimed to hear whispers while bathing herself. But later on she found herself being raped. She cried and pleaded but no one heard her, and when the night was over she was found dead, drowning in the bathtub. Just a warning, when you come into contact with the Screamer, do not show off any fear. Fear is what attracts it. Every breathless gasp you take, a quick occurring heartbeat, every drop of sweat, it just gives it more and more reason to come to you. If you want to keep the Screamer away from you, light a fire. Fire delights the Screamer, and when it's in a good mood it distracts them from trying to create fear. Don't try and fight it, just light a fire and run away. It works in California during the summer. If you're in the forest, and you see these teeth near you, get the hell out. Those are its apprentices and the Screamer doesn't feed them. And they love the taste of diabetic, sweaty, chubby Americans. They will not stop attacking you, they enjoy being to chew you nice and thorough, they love the sound of bones going through their teeth, it's sick. Now that that's done, let's go on and... Hey, who are you? Oh my god, it's the
Screamer. There's no escape. I already got one of your humans. I'm coming to town. And there is nothing you can do to stop me. wandering around, trying to find a nurse, trying to find your way out. I will be right behind you, waiting to come up and get you. And just when you think you may have gotten away from me, you sit in a dark area and turn around and see I was behind you.
I finally got out. He locked me in the closet. Well, I guess he showed all of you, do not come close to having any contact with the screamer, he is no joke. Well, I've got to go, I better head out the back, and keep this image of a candelabra on at night, just in case the screamer returns. Good night everyone.
It's that time of year, the end of the year. Welcome to Stock Footage Syndrome. It's the only show that dropped in quality after the first episode. Yet. It's December, and while many think it may just be about family and giving, it's now just a modern-day scam by big corporations just to get every last dime out of you. I mean, these so-called look at these shopping centers, they're tricking you into celebrating a holiday so you buy a bunch of shit you don't need. Seriously, Christmas isn't even a thing anymore. When was the last time you actually ever heard the word Christmas used in recent times, besides religiously? The term used now is holiday. It's just another unnecessary compensating word like gender fluid. And the holiday season is insane. It's the one time of year when people actually get their asses out of their houses and into some chain store. A place people go down to once a year and go crazy over what they need. It's like free day a whorehouse and you just go to town. When I was a little girl, I never had Christmas, we just went to Mass and read about Christ. I still don't celebrate Christmas to this day. My ex-boyfriend left me last October and my best friend suggested that I do what she did, get a vibrator on the internet. But I think I went to the wrong website or entered in some wrong information because a few days later, I got a box full of dildos. They ranged from super mega African black, which nearly split me in half, and mini Asian skinny, which I tried using but I think it's still in me somewhere. As a kid you're blindsided by all of these things, you think there's such things miracles and happiness but realize it's all just an act. And the only fat ass that breaks into houses leaves gifts are sexual predators like John Tribeca Garcia. They leave a quote, unquote, gift in your mom and that's real. If you're a kid watching this, it's your own fault you hear these things. You watch a crappy show on a crappy channel, you're pretty much guaranteed to have your mind completely f***ed up. Anyway, moving on, for those of you who find some joy in the holiday season, good luck trying to keep it. I've had to stay off the internet for 3 months. If you are extremely positive about something, people hate you. And if you are extremely negative about something, people hate you. I'd like to just be able to just say what little I already have to say, without being called a bitch. It's the loud people who know nothing but just want to get out there. God, I hate shopping at the mall around this time of year. It's a nightmare to have people go in and buy a $2,500 television that was originally $2,700. It's unbelievable. I remember when I got my first job when I was 16, it was literal hell. It was the worst day of my life. Even worse, that time in high school, I drank that stuff I thought was cream. I had work at the front of the store and watch everyone press their faces up against the door. And then the doors opened, and people ran in the store. They were ruthless. Several skinny people died before my eyes. I'm being told by the network that we're getting too dark and off track, so I'm gonna try to connect this back with Christmas. Just give me a few minutes. Oh sh**, we ran out of time. Goodbye everyone.
New year. New episodes. Same ass show. Welcome to stock footage syndrome. Did you still keep your New Year's resolution? You know, people say that you don't need money to enjoy life. But you also don't need a car to get places, but it damn well helps a lot. That's what we'll be talking about today. Cars. Back then you just had stagecoaches and horses, but that was a time people bitched about animal cruelty. But then oil companies came in and now we have cars, even now in the 21st century. There are many different cars available, cars powered by fossil fuels, cars powered by electricity, and more recently, cars that are able to drive themselves, that kill people every time they are tested, but they always somehow never hit my bitch ex-wife. I'm tired of paying alimony to that hoe bag. Let's move on. I got my first car back in 2001, it was 1993, Toyota Land Cruiser. It may sound like nothing, but at the time I got it, it was the Cars also come a minor side effect. They you in the ass, with continuous payments, that eventually pile on more and more as time goes on. I still have several payments on the Toyota, and on my bitch ex-wife's Jeep. I mean I want to get it paid before I retire, but sometimes I'm like, this I'm not getting in the ass, I'm getting a total penetration, just like half of Hollywood or all of Pornhub. Other than that I love my car, it's one part small home and it's one part sex magnet. Both guys and girls seem to get easily car horny. Have you seen some of those people that go to car shows? That's like an instant orgasm for them. That's how I met my girlfriend. She was attracted to my Lincoln Navigator, and afterwards I had to keep her by telling her that I work on a TV show. But when I told her that it was a web series that no one's never heard of on a channel no one's ever heard of, at a time no one's on their phone, she took the cat and left. I hate my life. Even before you get a car, it is a hassle. You have to go to the DMV and wait in long-ass lines, for an appointment that you initially made several months ago. I mean if you're planned to go to the DMV, you might as well plan to be there for the weekend. I'm still waiting on those driverless cars to come out, but I'm pretty sure that some stupid-ass law is going to make it so you still have to have a license, you know, just in case the car becomes self-aware and starts killing people left to right. Now that's annoying. If a car is going to kill something or someone, you should be able to decide who gets to live or die, so you can go somewhere to an ex's house, somewhere like 5712 River Street in Georgia. Did you know for electric scooters you also need to have a driver's license? I mean what the actually fuck? The police don't seem to care as long as you live on the west side of the country, but if you aren't white and live in the south, you're gonna die, no doubt. Sometimes I ride those scooters all around city in rough areas so they break and I can sue them, but they all seem to break when no one is riding them. I mean, while I'm riding I can either get in a freak accident or I can painfully die, either way it ends as a win for me. Maybe the worst things about cars is traffic. No matter the day, no matter the time, no matter the circumstance, there will always be some sort of traffic. Most of the time it's slow-ass drivers. One of the main rules of the driving is you never go by the given speed limit, you go at least 10 more miles per hour above the limit. Going the limit is alright, but if you go even slightly below it you're not a jerk, you're a straight asshole. Don't go 45 on a 50. You go 65 on a 50. I don't know how they do it in Asia. But in America, we don't give a damn about the rules. We just do what we want. Which is why we've fallen so hard as a country. Well, to wrap up today's show, I'll tell you the straight truth. We don't care much about the future pain that it will cause us. We just want to live in the moment and ignore the past and future until it comes up and bites us in the ass. And that all fine. And by the way, one of the biggest causes of death in the world are car-related. So if you think that time you're going down a street and think you're gonna get shot or stabbed, you're gonna get hit by a car. Or your car will explode and will fry you alive. Anyway, have fun going to work tomorrow. Good night, everyone. The following program contains strong language and sexual situations intended for a mature audience. Viewer discretion advised.
Fish. They're so delicate, so respected, yet we dedicate restaurants to where we skin, cook, and eat them alive. Welcome to Stock Footage Syndrome. You know, fish are a lot like penises. Size does matter. The big fish get all the attention and recognition while the little ones get only attention by the few quarter inches it grows. No one really cares that much about goldfish. I mean, they are prizes that you can win for throwing a golf ball into a large bowl, and those fish are given to sticky little 3-year-olds who can't even take care of themselves. Meanwhile, you have fish like salmon and tuna that are only known to be just for eating. It's the same for other medium-sized fish. But again, no one really cares, and I don't think that the fish even care that much either. Does anyone actually know the size of a fish's brain? Is it the size of an atom? The size of an electron? Do fish not have any brains? Are they just running on autopilot? Well, these are questions that make Brave Google the search engine it is. You know what's funny though? How fish wanna act like they are all tough. When they are underwater they act all badass, but then you take them out of water then they act they are your bitch and you're gonna reward them for the little things that they do. It's also kind of scary that we play God when it comes to fish. If you go to a restaurant and see an innocent little lobster sitting crushed in a small tank with other lobsters, with its beady black eyes and claws held together by a measly rubber band, you are able to decide whether it lives, or if it dies, but no one even really thinks about it. You take your kids in to have lobster for the first time, and secretly go and decide what lobster gets to die, and then you can tell your kids idiotic things, like it grows from trees, or it falls from the sky, or it's magic. And they'll believe you because all idiotic things are believed by idiotic children. Just look at these fish enjoying their lives underwater. Think about that before you take them with you from the pet store. You could be separating a kid from their parents. By the way, in case you are wondering, we are not a sponsor for the PETA. Just like this show, it's not changing many people, just making them a lot more angry. I wonder what else could be hidden in the ocean since apparently only a small percentage of it has been discovered. Maybe there are a special kind of fish down there that have several penises of vaginas. Or maybe it's all radiated mutated sea creatures from all of the nuclear waste that we keep using to make explosives. Little known fact about me. I invented the aquatic orgasm, which is basically just submerging yourself in water and having an orgasm. Sounds a little basic at first, but it's more interesting when you watch it. It's like watching sugar dissolve in hot water. But that's what got me banned from the aquatic center in Alabama. Apparently you can't do something like that unless someone related to you is watching. Well, enough about sodomy. Fish are an amazing part life. They're not as amazing as a dog, and cat, or even a parrot. Okay, maybe they aren't great pets, but they are great food, right? Well, not compared to ground beef. I can make me a burger or a burrito with that. And they're not as good as potatoes. You can make French fries, tater tots, hash browns, and more. Holy crap! Those foods also sound delicious after having sex. I could go to the store, get ground beef and potatoes to make burgers and fries, and I can take the cute cashier with me. We'll go the aquarium, have aquatic orgasms, and eat afterwards. Alright, I think I'm gonna do that now. Screw this show. Anyway, you know the deal. Wait, I'm supposed to be talking about fish? Damn it, this is just like that PTA meeting I went to. I can't go on and on about a subject, without the subject changing to my sex life. I swear I don't have any kind of mental illness. I just take pleasure in what I love. Thanks for watching. See you in the next episode with a different narrator probably. Thank you, good night. The office life. It's not as glamorous as the shows that you see on TV. But that's how they get you. Welcome to the office. I mean, stock footage syndrome. No matter what happens in your life, whether you become a chef, a teacher, or hell, even a drug dealer, you'll end up in an office at one point in your life. And you may think that it may be just a person in a cubicle, a water cooler bubbling, and the sad and miserable bitch trying to get some attention. But if you think that you're completely wrong, there is always a story to tell in each office that you go to. Today we will be office that encourages everyone to be open, both to new ideas and to their own sexuality. Let's start with the boss. The man in charge. You never really get to see him because he sits at his desk from morning to night and only comes out when there is a problem. In this kind of situation, you can tell that this person will be an asshole boss. You're actually more likely to have an asshole boss more than any other kind, and the best thing that you can do is just ignore him and just do all of the little crap that he wants you to do. And a little known fact, 70% of bosses sexually harass their secretaries and 30% of them always get away with it. Which brings us to the little known second in command, the secretary. The secretary, they're the eye in the sky, watching over you and reporting data back to the boss. I also heard a fact from nowhere that most secretaries are looking to seduce as many people in the office as possible. I mean, just think about it, they have access to all the employees' files and everyone there talks to her at least once a day, so they must be in it for something. Or maybe they are just trying to set them up with the boss. Like a pimp and hoe situation or something. Are all secretaries hoes? Can we also talk about the lunch situation? Have you ever seen an office fridge? That's a goddamn mess. A bunch of different good foods locked away in different areas. It's like America in fridge form, sandwiches up top, curry in the middle, jambalaya at the bottom. Even foods and fridges are subject to frequent uses of racism. Here's footage of what offices look like in the movies, on TV, and in advertisements. They look like they're the most fun place to work at, but deep down, you know that they are on to some shady shit. I mean, where the are these kinds offices that you can do all of this stuff? You'd probably only get to have this kind of experience by going to Los Angeles or New York. Despite having many people in those cities who are homeless and starving, you go ahead and build a stupid tall building. Also known as targets for terrorists. One of the main things I hated about my old office job was the secretary, Caitlin. She was such a bitch. Every day she came in crying about her husband who just filed a divorce with her and is also forcing her to get an abortion even though it's probably too late. I knew she was always upset about it before, but she keeps talking about it over and over again. I mean, I got toxic shock from a tampon I left in my vagina for a few days, but I didn't make a big deal about it over and over again. Don't force your negative sad life onto other people's life, you stupid bitch. Last thing is the diversity in offices. Back then it was just all men in suits and time went on and things changed and now everyone is in an office. And if you don't hire anyone not white, you will be all over television with many suits put against you. So you just keep hiring and hiring so people will look at you and think, hey, I wanna have sex with this guy. I went into my dad's office yesterday and I see all kinds of people there. An 80-year-old Latino man. An white janitor who also happens to be a transsexual. 2 9-year-old girls who already claim to be lesbians. But the most interesting was a divorced mother who got a sex change to a man, and is now marrying their ex-husband's ex. I know I don't understand it either. Goodbye. Now go watch some quality Office on Netflix, which will leave the service in 2021, just letting you know.
Still waiting on those rats to cook.
Yep.
Still waiting on opportunity to come to us.
Yep.
Still waiting on season 2 of LJ's World.
Yep.
Everybody get up, if you wanna get down. When they ask, say up. We gon' run this town. We gon' run this town. Run this town. We gon' run this town.
The following program contains strong language and sexual situations intended for a mature audience. Viewer discretion advised. In the words of the president, grab them by the pussy. But in this episode we'll be talking about a different kind of pussy. Cats. Welcome to Stock Footage Syndrome. Hello, I am still your narrator, but I have signed up for an experiment a few days ago where I am now in the body of a fat cat, and the fat cat is in my body. I don't think I'll switch back for a while, but I came into work anyway. And I'm here to tell you about the experiences I've had as a cat within the past few days. My first experience started a few days ago after I exited the testing facility. I left and wandered into this outdoor eating area, which I guess is dominated by another cat, because afterwards, he attacked me, like what the hell. I didn't know domestic cats loved to dominate entire areas. Dumbass cats. And afterwards, it got even worse. My fur got burnt up and I had nowhere to go, so I ended up having to go and sit under a table at a closed restaurant, and I ate a treat that I think now was some kind of drug. I couldn't move. I mean, I could barely move, you know. I saw these weird images and all of my legs felt like they didn't have any bones. My eyelids were barely able to open too. I think it might have had a trace of LSD or crack cocaine. Throughout the whole experience, I was just like, what the is going on right now? I even forgot for a second that I was still a goddamn cat. Although, I kind of should have known that it was some kind of drug. There was another cat across the street that had the same kind of drug. He was just lying there, and kind of twitched a little bit. I was unable to tell if he was either dead or alive. I was terrified while it was all happening, but I just kept watching and went away hoping that the worst was all behind me. After that, all the sense went back into me and I ended up just walking away from the whole thing. Man, I wanted to just keep sitting down and relaxing. But part of those drugs were making me want to go somewhere else. So after this I had to go to another spot. I went to this old abandoned area. And while there, I discovered how amazing it is to lick yourself. I used to just see it as a whore's bath, but I mean, goddamn, it was so amazing. I mean, whenever I get back into my human body, I might just have to keep doing over and over again. Then I went over to the area, and found out that this area belonged to some other king cat. Apparently his name was King Pussy, mainly because of his giant size. I gotta say, I've never in my life have ever seen a pussy that big. He always stayed in one spot but always looked so intimidating. So I just had to go around and make sure he didn't see me. Luckily, lots of cats are just lazy assholes, so I was able to just sneak around him easily while he started to fall asleep. It was so easy I went back and did it a few more times. But the last time he seemed a lot more alert, so I ended up just going, and then I saw an alley full of other cats. Just like King Pussy, they were all assholes just sitting around acting like they owned the whole goddamn world. Well, I didn't care. I was gonna do my own thing. I didn't need those stupid ass cats. I just went back to the spot where I licked myself. Sure, it smelled bad and it was really cramped, and it was completely riddled with parasites, but what the hell, it wasn't riddled with a bunch of furry assholes, who kept to themselves. I enjoyed myself, even though I think I have every disease in the book now. I passed that cat again. It was alive, but I think it ended up having to go to the vet, because it kept pooping out bloody stools. Not to mention that it was nearly human-sized. I mean, goddamn, it's like the cat pooped its entire organs out, but I didn't want to get involved any further. It was a crazy experience. Instead of being a cat, I could have just experimented with drugs all weekend. I then remembered that I had to go to work after this, so I went here to the studio afterwards, which is where you see me now. Now that I think about it, I think it has only been a few hours, not a few days. These cat days and hours seem to different now. I'm looking at the time and it's 5 o'clock. I went into facility initially at 1 o'clock, so yeah, either these cat times are long as hell, or these drugs have shown that I am a complete goddamn mess. Well, I'm gonna end the show now and see if they're ready to switch me back. Hopefully I won't be in the body of a cat next time you see me. Good night, everyone.
Valentine's Day, the one time of the year where you have to act romantic for the entire world to see. This episode is for the single ones out there. Welcome to Stock Footage Syndrome. Whether you have a partner, or don't have a partner, Valentine's Day can be one of the most stressful holidays of the year. With your partner you gotta plan out what to do, like go to an expensive restaurant and later just have the happiness of getting dicked down. And if you're single, you gotta deal with the sadness that you may never experience any other kind of happiness ever again, and briefly delete your Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat to get away from all the posts of the somewhat happy couples, slowly leading you down the path of major depression. Even if you are sad, never just sit out in the open on a bench and show public display of sadness. You go inside by yourself and keep your emotions inside like everyone else. Even if you sit alone in front of a lake, don't just sit there and expect people to feel for you and try to help you out. Unless you're a girl with big boobs. Besides, you never know where you may be sitting. There may be someone across the way looking in your direction, but not really looking at you. In this instance, in this cold world, no one really cares about people, unless it's women with big boobs, which this one doesn't have. Maybe that's why he's sitting across the lake, so he can visualize that she has some large breasts. Who knows, maybe if she's desperate enough, you can call her over for Valentine's Day, and she'll probably offer you some pity sex. After all, pity sex is better than not getting any sex. That's how my parent conceived me. And now on the other negative part of Valentine's Day. When you actually have a Valentine but you both act like a couple of basic bitches the entire day. In this day and age where you could simply hold hands a walk on the beach. Well, it's better than when I was a kid. Back then guys would just whip out their dicks and just play with it until someone comes. I never got to experience that at all. I think I lost my virginity a couple years ago, but I was pretty faded, so I'm not completely sure. Anyway, I feel like most of the time I see these couples out and about walking around, they just want to show off in front of everyone that they have someone. Head ass. I bet they were just fighting with each other a few hours prior to the day. Sometimes it's hard to tell whether it's better to single or alone on this day. Well, a note to you couples, if you're going to be together, you may as well do everything that you can to make it work. What good is a relationship that you don't put any effort into? And don't just go around parading each other like you two are just some trophies. From a single person's perspective, you two are like a real pain in the ass, that everyone just hopes that you get kidnapped by ISIS and get beheaded. Seriously, if anything, just give each other little mentions on Twitter and leave it at that. At least we can block you. I can't block you in real life, unless I kill you. But I'm serious, you don't need to let everyone around you know that you're together every single day. This goes for celebrities and regular people. The only reason we see pictures of you is so we can visualize what it's like tapping that ass. We also like to go around and just look at when the relationship will fall off the tracks and we can slide in to comfort them. Don't get mad about what I'm saying, this is all completely true. I'm just saying the stuff that no one else wants to see. And as for all of the single, put some effort out there. Like my dad always says, sometimes you have to come to someone so they can come in you. He told me that when I was 12. I guess he thought that I was too ugly to have a boy come to me first. And he was totally right. That dead son of a bitch. And embrace the time you're being alone. Pretty soon there will come a time when you are forced to have to do anything together and you will no longer have your own freedom. Enjoy a time where you only have to pay for food yourself, and not have to pay for your partner when they're quote-unquote, not hungry. Besides, if you're a guy, there is one thing that you could always do that makes you feel better: get a haircut. You could be on the verge of suicide, getting a haircut somewhat always makes everything better somehow. And for girls, there is a special at adamandeve.com just waiting for you to place your order and have a crappy Valentine's Day, from us at Stock Footage Syndrome.